And that way, I'll check it out.
Yeah. This meeting is being recorded and the recording does not constitute an official record of this meeting. All documents from this meeting are available on the school board page of the district website. Stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. I was like, we keep moving up.
Yeah.
Any revisions to the agenda? No. Yeah. And we do have some public comment today. So, Heather Morris, yep, please. Yeah.
Thank you, Chairman, Betty, the rest of the board. For allowing me to address you today. I am not an extemporaneous speaker, so I'm going to read my notes if you don't mind. I'm here today to talk about the proposed hospital and wellness district and to ask for your help. This is a continuing effort from the previous Livable Big Sky initiative. As you recall, last May, our community voted not only to extend resort tax, but we also approved bond measures for cold smoke housing and the community park refresh. And this year, we're talking about health and wellness for all ages, and we need your help to spread the word before the May 5th election. Yeah. Some of you may be asking, why now? While the coalition has been working on this since 2020, with the passage of Senate Bill 260 almost a year ago, which dealt with hospital and wellness districts, we now have the opportunity to create a special purpose district, like our fire district or BizTrip, and establish a mechanism in another step in making Big Sky livable for all. The hospital and wellness district would focus on local priorities and would be led by an elected board of residents from our community. As we all in this room know, the needs of Big Sky continue to grow. Data shows gaps in physical health, mental health, and social services. This is a chance for our community to keep our tax dollars in Big Sky, and this district would be our two counties coming together for our one community. Currently, Big Sky residents who live in Madison County, like myself, we pay into the hospital in Ennis, last year contributing over $3 million. Senate Bill 260 created an 8-year step-down process and a legal pathway for those funds to now stay in our community, if we can form a hospital district on this side. Just so you know how it works, Madison Valley Medical Center will get 70% of the hospital taxes collected this year, 60% over the next 3 years, then 40% for 2 years, and then 20% for the final 2 years. And after that, all of those property tax going to the healthcare district will stay here, if we vote to form this district. The ballot initiative will be one vote to exit the Madison Valley Hospital District and create a Big Sky Hospital District and elect a board of 3. For those of you on the Gallatin side, there will be an initiative on the ballot if you want to create a new hospital and wellness district and who you would elect to the board. If the district is not created on the Gallatin side, there is no coordinated structure to align funding across the full Big Sky community, and we would lose the ability to invest where residents are actually receiving care. In short, what this vote will do is ask whether Big Sky should create a community-led hospital district. It will establish framework which will allow for shared funds to serve the broader community, and it will create local representation through an elected board. What this vote will not do is create a hospital or facility on its own or replace existing healthcare providers, nor will it decide which organizations or projects will receive funding. It will not, from the outset, implement any new taxes on the Gallatin side. That would have to be a voter-approved initiative at a later date. On the Madison side, it will keep some of the tax dollars here in our community that have previously been benefiting Madison Valley. So how can you help? First, make sure you're registered to vote. I'm sure you all are. But just so you know, regular registration does close on April 6th. Second, could you please help us spread the word? Again, the biggest takeaway from this is this will not add any new taxes. Ballots will be mailed out after April 15th, and the vote is on May 5th. So have your ballots turned back in. Thank you for listening to me and for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Would you be able to share that?
I was just, that's what
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, because
Yes.
Very eloquently put.
Want to email that to me, I'll share it with the trustees and make sure it becomes part of the record. And so the ballots are probably done, who's running for the Gallatin County side for the wellness district? You know?
There are 4 people who are running on the Gallatin side. And
It's okay,
um
if you don't know off the top of your head.
it's Laura Safang, Sally Stonewall, I think Kiernan. Leah, and there's someone else. And then.
Is it Katie running? Is it Katie?
Oh, Katie, not Kiernan, Katie, sorry,
Thanks.
all the
Great.
other questions. Okay,
Thank you, Heather.
thank you all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Heather.
You gotta start saying it.
Good one. Do that.
Nothing you vote on costs you anything. That would be a great headline. Vote, nothing costs you. Will that be true though? What, is there any other, do we know what else is going on in the ballot?
On our ballot on this side, there's the school trustees.
That
And
doesn't cost you anything. We're trying to.
No levy.
Where's the cost?
no levies for the.
No
school
levies for the
district.
school district.
We can say on our end at least.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm wondering, it'd be really interesting. Nobody asked for taxes. That would be a headline.
We had an election once, so property purchase, remember that?
Yeah,
And it was just, we purchased this property escrow.
yeah.
But no,
And no,
Increase to
No,
the.
but no increase.
That doesn't do
The voter.
anything.
But if, yeah, I mean, because the ballot will have every bit.
Yeah,
Well, I'm waiting for that headline.
it may happen. This might be the one. Great, thanks,
Thanks,
Heather.
Heather.
Appreciate that. Take it from on the minutes, please.
I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Any discussion there? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Pass unanimously.
Aye.
Thanks, thanks, Matt. Move on to superintendent report, please.
yeah, I sent this out, I'll be really brief. So you'll get this month and next month on current enrollment and then next month in anticipated enrollment. I think we know, right, we're gonna kind of continue dipping down a little bit, especially at the elementary level. Along those same lines, our staffing pattern in enrollment is that it's getting clearer. We have, at this point, search for an elementary teacher. We'll be able to really update you next month on who's staying and kind of submitting any resignations of here. And then the facility, I mean, this could be a nightmare, but I think Chair Jennings probably members. We've had constant issues with this water tank out here, since school has been built in 2014. So we had a significant fix done to it 4 or 5 years ago. Everything was good, moving along well. We had a test result just this last week that indicated it's probably got some exterior leaking again. So Peter Manko will continue working on that, and the reason I bring this up is we'll be back in front of you with probably a significant fix because it does need to be fixed.
But no taxes.
Exterior in or
Just-
exterior.
So it's what happens is, so every month Peter tests the water 2 times a week. So he's got to test it at faucets, he's got to test it in the tank, and then he tests it at the well. And so it's what happened, 2014 to 2020, when we had significant melt, and the ground became really saturated. The well would test, so what we test for is chloroform, which isn't harmful in itself, but it's a presence of he calls it something technical. So the well would be fine, the faucets would be fine, the tank wouldn't be fine. So it's what we figured out is there somehow it's getting into the tank. So whatever, 4 or 5 years ago, we dug it up, sealed it completely with some fancy sprays, did a couple other things, and then everything was clear for 6 years. Now, that was the first test that we've had in 6 years, and it wasn't to an extent that the DEQ would be what they sent it.
Planning.
Yeah,
More clear, because I'm like,
yeah,
I don't want to come to school one day.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be that, yeah.
This is more kind of And I can say if the precipitation and moisture stays in its current state, we won't have another one.
Yeah.
Because it's only been from, let's say, March
No.
22nd through spring break. Is when we've had those kinds of issues because the ground gets so saturated.
That ceiling's probably wearing off a little bit somewhere.
Yes, but I think it may be worth to just, even if it ends up being $25,000-$30,000, just spend it and just fix it.
Generally fixing walls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something we did for sure. Anything else?
That's all I have.
Questions other? We will move on to the middle and high school report.
Thank you.
Richard, please.
From the academic side, we've started our third trimester, so we're in the final slide to the end of the year for our specials. We have the ACT coming up March 24th with our 11th graders. And that is just the one state test we take in high school to show that we are meeting state expectations. We have a final ACT prep class next week. For the PSAT, 6 of our students in grades 9 to 11 have been notified that they're eligible to claim the rural and small town recognition and school recognition from the College Board based on their PSAT results. And that's the kind of the biggest group we've had. But in my memory, I wouldn't say forever.
What's the parallel or Barlow connection between that and National Board and the Merit Scholarship? Just to put it in context.
So you could, if you receive that in 11th grade, you're a potential candidate to be a candidate for the National Merit Scholarship. So we might have, but I won't say anything more. It's fine, we don't know.
Yeah.
But it's
Such a good recognition.
nice recognition.
Hi, Jan, can ninth graders take that test?
Yeah,
They
they
are
are
taking, eighth graders are taking. it.
No, 8th
No,
grade.
no.
Yeah, nine.
Nine.
Yeah, we started.
So that was,
We're one of the few schools in the state of Montana who pays for everybody to take it.
It's a good thing to do.
we get a national merit, that's.
That'd be great.
And then we had a team come back from last weekend for the Academic World Quest. They do that with the Montana World Affairs Council at the University of Montana, and they compete to show that they know what's happening in the world in terms of economics and politics and just any kind of current affairs. We had one team place 11th, I think, out of 104 teams, so that was a really good showing. And then next week, we have our NHS induction for our new crew coming in on Wednesday during Bighorn Block. And then it's a busy week right now, our time for our kids that are taking IB exams. So we have kids that are doing the honors diploma and also course candidates. And so we have a big deadline this week. And so if you see any of those 12th graders, they might need a little extra high five or smile. They're turning in their 4,000 word research paper and so forth this week. So a lot of hard work has gone into it. And then lastly, our middle schoolers finished their mass testing for the second window last week. And that's our mandated state testing we have to do 4 times a year. And they worked hard. So that was great. And that's a big logistical piece for our testing coordinator, Dr. Brooke, and our English and math teachers. So that was awesome. Tomorrow on the light side, we have the talent show.
Yeah.
So middle school and high school students participating, put on by the Middle School Student Council. And then at the end of the month, we have our blood drive, March 26th. So we're looking for lots of volunteers. We know we have a lot of blood shortages. And then at the end of the month as well, March 31st, we have our FOBSI awards for graduating seniors. And I just want to stop and recognize the committee has $114,000 to give our graduating seniors this year, which is incredible. And then we're planning for next year. We've already booked sites for Expedition. So we're ready on that front. And then for professional development side, just want to shout out to Kate Riley again, who presented at the National Art Education Conference last weekend. And got to meet, lots of important people from the Smithsonian and so forth that, was really a great experience for her, and she got a lot of positive feedback. So we're happy for her. And at the same time, Kate just finished her Category 2 IB training for the new art syllabus. So that's it.
That's it?
That's it.
Thank you. Any other questions? Move on to elementary principal.
All tenured and non-tenured observations are. It's always a really fun time to sit down and with teachers and kind of crazy how it's all with we do every day. So checking that piece off the list. We just had a round of data meetings yesterday. We're meeting more frequently this year to talk about students and where they are and if we can provide additional support. So we have to look into these all day yesterday. 2 weeks ago now, we had the visit from the Amplify Math team. We're in a pilot right now with them, and we got really good feedback from their experience here. They were surprised that the teachers are in their first year with the program, and I think we attribute a lot of, it's an inquiry-based approach to teaching math, and attribute a lot of their success with that because of the PYP programming that we already have using that same approach. So update for our 4K programming, the state of Montana has added early numeracy as one of the factors along with early literacy for our 4K programming, which is great. We were already doing that, but we now have to have an assessment in early numeracy for entrance into the program. Our program is needs-based, so students have to test before they gain entrance into our programming. So we've been researching, we found the program, so we've been collecting interest in 4K for next year. Right now we have 15 interested families. 9 of those are returning that already have students in the building, 6 are brand new to Ophir, and we'll keep that form for interest open until the end of March. And then in April, we have to get all of the little 4-year-old kids. Some of them are 3 and 4-year-olds to campus, and we do the assessment with them. We have their parents sit in on the assessment, and then we can look at needs-based and offer acceptance into the program. That will happen in May. So we'll get all of that done. We just had Read Across America week last week, which was really great. Mrs. Jakes organized that and had 9th graders running the lessons for the kids, which was a really neat crossover activity for them, and the 9th graders did a job. And we had our 5th graders being like assistant teachers and things. Really cute. Questions? Yeah.
You said, so it's need based, but there's only 15 that have expressed interest, so you would be able to let everyone in then? Okay. Yeah, make sure.
We're still like 20, right?
We're max of 18.
18, sorry.
Max of 18, yeah, and I think with the new assessment, we have to figure out where we're gonna set the bar for entrance, like what do we consider as a team of having skills that would make it so you would qualify or have a need for students demonstrating the need, so we still have to do that work as a team. We can become more familiar with the testing platform.
So the law that they brought in states, right, this is all about 3rd grade. So you're supposed to be able to use these assessments to identify a kid who may be at risk of not meeting benchmarks at the end of 3rd grade, because that's kind of that's the developmental indicator of how successful you can be through your education. But we get to set that, like, we set the drop point. So really you would say, hey, if you're in the 90th percentile, you're in.
And that's what we did.
You
with
won't
the-
have to turn anyone away based on,
Yeah,
the
we-
next
Based on
year.
an assessment.
with the last assessment, you had to be at the 85th percentile or higher to not make it in one assessment of several different categories, which is everybody, which is what we want.
Yeah.
Everybody could benefit.
Thank you.
Open. Thank you, Brittany. Move on to the activities report, please, Mr. Hess.
Thank you. So spring sports start next Monday. Looking at pretty good numbers. Baseball, this is so far what's signed up on final forms. You can almost always count on a couple extra to show up that just haven't registered yet. But we have 17 for baseball, 8 for tennis, 16 for track, golf, 6 boys, 8 girls, and then middle school track, 18. So numbers are looking good for those programs. The schedules are pretty much set. We had our follow-up scheduling meeting today down in Manhattan for spring, and our goal right now is to try to host 2 middle school track meets, one for the 5B and then one for the 12C and 5B. Hoping that we can do that combined one on a Saturday. That will be almost run by everybody else that's here. We'll just be the host. So they'll provide volunteers. It went pretty well last year with our 5B meet. So I think upping it a little bit, and maybe we're probably gonna have to put a cap on events for some of these kids. The 5v1 was nice because there was, I think, 6 teams. So everybody could do as many events as they wanted, but I think with that many schools, it'll have to be a capped event to where you can compete in 100, but maybe not 100 hurdles or vice versa, just to keep, with 8 lanes, it can take a long time, but I think we're gonna schedule that for a Saturday, so it shouldn't interfere with anything. And my goal is to at least get like a high school duel going on, so we can really get our timing system dialed in. I've got a couple guys around the county that are gonna come and help me simplify some of that stuff a little bit. So, you know, I'm hoping for a nice spring that we can have a bunch of people up here and show off our facility. And as far as schedules go, now that those have been kind of finalized, they'll be published. Most of them, not a whole lot have changed. Besides, I think we got the Snowflake for track, that early meet down in Columbus, which is exciting. And golf, we got lucky with spring break this year. Usually that's kind of when people start scheduling stuff in earnest in the spring. That's usually the first kind of nice week, but there's very little that our kids are going to spring break this year. So that's good. Yeah. Great.
How many kids for golf is it? 8 and 6?
14.
6 boys, 8 girls. Yeah.
And then how does that work? Do you take all 8 to a meet and just send 2 flights?
You would take a maximum of 5. You take 5 and you score 4. So 5 for a varsity meet, 5 girls would go. We would score the 4 best scores. The other 3 we could take to JV meets. We had equal number of JV meets and varsity meets. So we typically we have those numbered, those varsity girls 1 through 5. If somebody can't make it, we'll fill in for one of those. But usually what we did last year is those extra girls played all JV meets. I think they got 1 or 2 varsity meets. Yeah. Same with boys.
Great. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Haynes.
Mhm.
Move on to our business manager's report. Looks like we have our old one here.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sick, I can do it on our end. It's really quick. Payroll, right, we're rolling towards the end of the year, you'll see the budget's actual in your packet. 5 more payroll for the school year, including the big one at the. And then the ballots for Gallatin County, you know, on April 17th. But that's really, and then Senate Bill 307, but we'll talk about that in number 3.
Great. Thank you. Right, we'll move on to discussion and action, please. Accept the motion on number 1.
I move to approve the facility request of the Big Sky PTO.
A second promotion.
So the PTO, you remember a year ago, they posted their pie option in the steam wing. They would like to do the gym again at June this year, even that you approved this. So they filled out and they did check to serve alcohol. And I'm going to follow up with a conversation I had with Trustee Todd in the fall. So you know, we come to this board every time that they're serve alcohol on campus, we through the long back or we get through some other special event. The chamber had a special event and requested the same thing. So, you know, Matt and I were chatting that maybe if there was some way where we could just kind of put that in the superintendent's hands to approve and not do it. Our attorneys say you shouldn't do that, the board
Just leave it up to the board.
Nothing up to the time, but, you know, they're risk managers for us. But I think is what we do probably want to do is have it be as far at the front, as far as we can out in front of these, so we can just do it twice a year. Like really, you know, start when jobs are supposed to be a little closer to the fire to get everything to us in advance.
And the PTO knows they're gonna have it.
And if the PTO knows, and if there are some one-offs that we just say. We're not. So it doesn't look like we're operating.
Right.
Like a venue for.
Yeah.
This is gonna be lucrative.
Yeah, so your point is that it looks more professional and
Right.
considered to do it.
Well, and that it's really
As
it's categorical.
Yeah, we just have a deadline.
You have a
for it.
deadline
Well,
and you're
and-
going to.
And there's 2 entities that. Performing Arts Center and then occasionally the PTO. And the one thing about, you know, I think, you know, Holly told me they save upwards of 50 grand by not having to rent a venue, and that's all this money that flows back at us.
Yeah, they're set on having it here in the future. I think that's great.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, for the schools.
It's really nice.
think it's.
And she's gonna be probably moving on, so if anybody wants to volunteer to be PTO president. As you
Then they're done.
Just raise your hand.
The word no.
Yeah. Just one more,
Not on film.
And we don't charge.
right? Yeah, it's great.
That's good.
Well, and it can be isolated too over there, which is nice for the rest of the school.
It follows the same route, we can block everything, it's just big on campus.
Nothing else is happening. It's
And that's Friday the 27th.
Great, any other questions? March 27th?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sue.
Yeah, end of this month, couple weeks. Great, call for a vote, all those in favor?
I
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
recommend to approve Nate Lucas for a 1.0 FTE for the 26-27 school year.
I second the motion.
So his resume and paperwork is in there, that resume and everything is reflective of 3 student teachers.
Yes. It's a little gap.
So he student taught for Tony Coppola in the fall, and he did a fabulous job.
Tony had great things to say about it.
Yeah, he's been subbing across the district from everything from pre-K up to, 12th graders, so frankly, we felt lucky that we were able to find a gap, a place where it would fit right in for us, and the staffing model, once we get it out and the assignments, I think they're gonna be happy with.
So, yeah, it's nice to be able to.
Mine was an
Keep it.
insert. He's just insane.
Oh.
Yeah.
Would have been cool to be able to put together a fencing.
As opposed to making that thing.
Fencing, not the same.
It's still a challenge.
It's a real sport for getting into college. It's hard to get.
It's a good life skill.
Any other questions? Call for a vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Move to approve SB 307 documentation as provided.
I second the motion. And I think you are gonna explain this to us.
Yeah, so this is from, correct me, Corky, 2021 session, possibly 2019.
Yeah, well, it stems from the state audit that was done on the quality of the schools.
So that was 2019 session is what Senate Bill 307 came out of. So what this allows us to do is make a calculation based on our A and B to bring in some dollars for facilities, basically. In order to do that, we have to publicize in the paper so we put it in the Chronicle, the paper that's most widely read in our region, what our anticipated permissive levy increases are going to be. So if you look at the document, adult ed, bus depreciation, transportation, tuitions, those are all permissive levies that the board just in August, you say we're putting $500,000 in transportation, and the county collects that and gives it to us. We don't have to ask. In order to take advantage of Senate Bill 307, this is just anticipated, so it could change. But we don't anticipate this changing, because if you remember from August, most of our funds have a pretty high. We're operating in good reserves, so to speak. So this is only to reflect any potential increases, and we don't anticipate those at this time. Our transportation, if you remember, we paid off a lot of debt, so we had a high transportation last year. All of our debts paid off in that. Bus depreciation is just what it is.
So you're saying no taxes?
Well, we're saying no, at this
No
point, like,
appreciation.
anticipate.
Yeah.
I'm just going on with no taxes.
Yeah, no, that's
Trying
good.
to track it down.
So once you approve this, then we'll advertise this, and then we'll be able to take advantage of Senate 307.
So advertising it now, not anticipating any changes necessarily, but if we do have one that does come up,
We
we
have
can
changes
still
we can
make that change.
Correct.
Because we have already had this published.
Right, and this is just anticipated.
Right.
And I would guess when you look at 99% of districts who take advantage of Senate Bill 307,
Yeah,
theirs would look very similar at this point.
right, like that's something we use for our new water.
Well, we could use that, but it wouldn't be anything that would be reflected. in this.
Okay. Any other questions? Call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
I move to approve the Bridger care lessons for the 4th and 5th grade as presented.
I second the motion.
They're the exact same one that we've always had.
Why are we just doing them though? What?
So we're, okay,
Every
yeah,
month.
sorry, I should have.
We must be too rigid.
Yeah, no, it's been kicked out, it's been tabled a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah. it's just-
So the one thing is, like, anybody who's been on the board for longer, than 18 months. There were some fundamental changes in how they wanted to go about delivering their lessons, not delivering their lessons in their content. So we've been going back and forth with them a lot. We've got 4th and 5th grade in a place where we're comfortable with it and they're comfortable delivering it. We're still trying to work through the 6 through 12 lessons with them, so we can sit in front of you in good faith and say if this is appropriate for our student body.
We anticipate they'll get it this year though, right?
That's our anticipation.
Yeah. It's important.
Unless they dig their heels in, like on some, identity instruction and things like that, then we'll come back and say, is this really to you guys?
But otherwise,
That
everything's
makes
the same, yeah.
Yeah.
Change.
And we give the opt-out.
Right.
And is this the packet that the parents will receive then? Don't you send something to parents?
Erica does that, she can
Yeah.
answer that.
They
question.
can, parents can request.
Or request it and they get the
Have that.
same information that we got?
Yeah.
I was curious.
I think it'll be Schreiber Cow. Previously, yeah, previously.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Call for a vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
I move to approve the proposed procedures as per the ad hoc committee recommendation as presented.
I second the motion.
So. We had the ad hoc committee with Matt and Matt. Assigned at the last board meeting to look at, to review the incidents of, not incidents, the events of January 30th. January 30th, in your packet, you have kind of how January 30th unfolded. And then what we've talked about as a committee as possible. Somewhat standardization, as much as you can standardize procedures around something like that. So. We did have parent feedback that wasn't very supportive, which kind of leads us to right here, right now. And there were some valid points made across the board. People have to talk to, so. On the 30th, we kind of knew there was gonna be something, there was gonna be a walkout in the of the students, and that happened. Then students left campus, we got them all back, and then everybody kind of does, we sent emails to the parents, we talked about, that your student on campus are gonna have an excused absence. Myself, Marlo, and Matt Doherty running things. So as we talked through this with Matt, and feel free to jump in anytime, guys. Like there probably were some things that we were hearing from other school districts who stated that might be beneficial the next time something like this comes up. Like, once we hear about it, so this talk to the kids and say, we're not telling you to do this or not do this, but this is the consequences. And then a big one, a big one is there was press on campus, and we have the ability to not let them on campus for events such as that, as long as the state's on campus. So kind of, the second page of what you have in front of you is what we've discussed in the world. So.
I was just curious about the part that said that, like, communicate with students that any vulgarities will not be allowed and consequences will be implemented, like, what that exactly means.
So-
It seems like they have a right to express.
They do, but so at the same time, it would be like, so. I would equate it to this, Betsy. So the students came out and we didn't see the signs until they were kind of posted, and we got postings from other people, pictures kind of like F, but spelled correctly, ice. I would equate that to the same. We wouldn't let a student come in and sit in class with a shirt that said that.
Or go to a basketball
Yeah,
game.
Yeah. But like, once they leave, how do we,
But they're
Yeah,
on,
that's what I'm
Off
hearing.
school property.
if they're on our campus, once they leave, they
Once
can
they
do
get
whatever
around
they
the
do.
corner, okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was.
Yeah, we would just want to keep that a little bit more under wraps, so it's not walking around on campus like we'd say at a football game or basketball game, things like that.
Same as that.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
recommendations allow them to express their position, whatever that happens to be.
Without vulgarity.
That's right, respectfully, appropriately on campus, if they go off campus, then it's up to the parents, all of us that are parents to deal with it. The way we deal with it. We wanna-
While they're here.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that, I just.
Yeah,
yeah, I think
Okay.
that's,
They're on the path, they're off.
that's not proper.
yeah.
They're on
So-
property.
The press, if they tell the press are there, they're,
Yeah.
Just like standing on the sidewalk in
Yeah.
front of your house.
yeah, that's what
That's in our house.
I was just clarifying.
In real towns.
And then, I guess I don't know what I guess I hadn't thought about this neutrality, that the staff has an obligation to be neutral. Is that that's in our handbook, I guess I just.
That's in the handbook, that's in the oath that they take as educators for the state of Montana, it's also contained in our policy.
Okay.
So, you know, we had a lot of. We looked a lot through our policies and through Montana School Boards Association policies and how they would guide something. And I think it's whatever the policy was, I attached that
Yeah.
to you, 30, 22 maybe.
So,
And you know, kids have all of their constitutional rights here. Just the same, as long as it just doesn't disrupt the learning process. So is what we gathered from the School Board Association is that. In that policy, they've left it completely up to schools, that we may discipline students for exercising their constitutional rights that disrupts
School.
learning or doesn't. Right, we may, and that's really kind of the governing policy that we have. And I don't think it's a wise idea, is why I'm suggesting this as more of a procedure for admin than a policy,
Than a
because we
policy.
could politicize this if we wanted to, but I don't think that that's the best route.
yeah, agreed.
I like that.
Yeah, just.
I don't have anything to add other than, yeah, kids don't lose their rights when they walk through the school door, so. I mean, it's still up to us as parents to deal with our families, how we need to deal with our families, and everybody's got a little bit different take on that, but as long as they're not disrupting school. You know, they get to do what they wanna do. If they're disrupting, that's something different, so whether that's vulgarity, whether that's. You know, being insubordinate or disrespectful to teachers that are trying to guide them, or Mr. Doherty or others. It's, you know, leaving campus and giving the middle finger on the way out the door kind of thing.
And knowing that if they do leave the campus, there are consequences.
That's right.
Just letting people know that that's coming down too.
I'm
Thank you
comfortable
for
with
your
your
work on
project.
that.
Yeah,
Any other questions or?
So were there were no adults when they were on this, they were just out.
So it unfolded kind of in this way, almost exactly. So we knew, we met, the three of us, here's kind of what we'll do, because we had one of these maybe 7, 8 years ago on the school shootings.
Yes.
And so we just kept it, I would say, a comfortable distance, not interfering, just making sure, like, you know,
Right.
things were
Really.
safe,
Yeah.
right? And then when they left the campus, we almost did the same thing. You know, they came here and they walked down the street. We just watched. We didn't participate. So we didn't look at the signs as they were coming out of the building. Then when the students got in their cars, that's when we interviewed to some extent, just, you know, telling students who were driving, maybe students that didn't have permission to leave from that.
Yeah.
You're now putting yourself in a liability situation, liable situation. And then there were some parents on campus who were supporting the students, which is not even supporting the students, I would say they had a similar distance to what we had as school staff, but maybe a few more pictures and things like that.
I guess I'm interested, like, so in a school shooting, that we're not neutral in school shooting. Like, there's not, I mean,
That's a good question.
I'm just curious, like,
I think that's a different
it's
issue, but that's not
it's
a
a
political
different-
issue.
it is if you're saying, I mean, it could be, you think it isn't? I think it isn't, but I think it also, I just would at some point like to have more conversation about what things we consider will be neutral on and what we won't be. So we're saying everyone thinks that you shouldn't have school shootings, which of course, I think everyone thinks that. Some people might think you're talking about taking away my guns. That's a different thing. And so it's just interesting to me, the neutrality piece and when it becomes its own sort of endorsement for ideas.
Right.
But that's a different discussion for.
Yeah, so I would just contextualize it maybe for myself, and how I would talk to staff about it. Yeah, nobody wants to see students be killed in a school.
Yes.
But generally the core argument around that is we have too many guns.
Guns, correct.
And so I would just say, in both of these cases, not every student participated.
Yeah.
Even before, some students, and I don't think they were demonstrating a pro-school shooting stance. They were exercising their right
To just not
keep
say
it up.
anything.
to be neutral, or, is it really a Second Amendment right?
And I don't want to open up a can of worms for now, but I just find it interesting because
Yeah.
neutrality for the staff in particular and for what we talk about, neutrality can read as endorsement or not endorsement when it's really just neutrality, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I just think it'd be hard
It's
to
how
gauge.
we try to talk with the
Yeah.
educators, Barbara, and how we try to talk with the students is to be the same way as if one of my own children wanted to, protest something that maybe I didn't see, that I believed in, is put it in the context of this is your right
To do it yourself.
under documents that have proven over time. And you have a right to do this and stand on whatever side you would like.
But then not give that opinion necessarily to them as to what,
Right, it's more
That's
than
not
just
just-
School day.
especially
Like we
exactly
have rights to express ourselves outside of the school day, off
Yeah.
of
campus,
school property, right?
inside the building.
But during an instructional days.
Well, it's just in our world today, some people think slavery is a debatable thing, whether it happened or not, right? I don't know how you teach history without talking about it. And are you neutral on that? I just think neutrality, when I read that, I just think if I were an educator, it would
Yeah.
give me pause of where you fall. Because I don't want to discuss slavery because now some people just say it didn't really happen or it wasn't that bad or whatever. And so what kind of education are we providing at the point where we're neutral on things
Okay.
that appear to be record,
Yeah.
And so that's all, and that, like I
Like I
said.
said, that's a
is-
wormhole that we.
That's where when I
Yeah.
read that, I was like, wow, the teachers have to be neutral on everything. To me, it means you avoid getting into things that are now, everything is up for grabs of what's true or not. And so I don't know how I do that as an educator. Like, there's a lot of questions
It's
out
not
there.
easy.
Yeah, well, I think what you do is you don't talk about it at all, and then the education is hurt, but that's, okay, what's next on there? Jared?
Did we vote?
We did not yet, no, any other discussion on that? Yeah.
So, yeah, this procedure is just for a specific situation.
Yeah.
It is, I'm only talking about one line that I'm.
Call for a vote, all those in favor,
I
any opposed? That's unanimously.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second the
Yes.
motion.
Any questions on that? Call for a vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimously. Future meeting dates, 14th of April, we just have a break. And then we will switch to a Thursday on May 14th. Which is a little different, just to deal with election results and
So
Swearing
John
in,
Nicholson will be here to swear in the
new trustee.
newly elected trustee. And then that'll be our reorganizational meeting, that'll be a big one.
Put that on your calendar.
That is different.
Yeah, instead of the Tuesday, it's a Thursday.
Thursday,
Those days.
he may
You can
not
have
be
that.
able to make it. Well, no, if he couldn't make it.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone.